Hey man, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com. The 5% categories for the Chase Freedom Flex have been announced for Q2 of 2024, and there is some stackable magic going on. What do I mean by that? Well, let's first look at what those 5% categories are. They are Amazon and Whole Foods, hotels, and restaurants. So normally when the Chase Freedom Flex has a 5% category, that means you're getting 5 points per dollar or 5% cash back in those categories. What's interesting about the second quarter is because the Chase Freedom Flex already offers 3 points per dollar or 3% at restaurants, and you can get 5 points per dollar or 5% when you book your hotels through Chase Travel, that means there are some stackable opportunities here as well. It means that for your restaurant purchases, you are actually going to get 7% on your restaurant purchases, unless you hit the quarterly cap, which we will talk about in a second. For the hotels, if you book directly with the hotel, you would get the 5% that we are talking about for the quarter. But if you book your hotel through Chase Travel, you're actually going to get 9% on those purchases up to the quarterly cap. And then the Amazon Whole Foods would be the 5% we've already mentioned. All right, now time for a little math lesson. You might be thinking to yourself, why am I not getting 8% at restaurants if it's 3% normally, and now I'm getting an extra 5%? And why is it not 10% on hotels if I book through Chase Travel if it's normally 5% through Chase Travel and I'm getting an extra 5% here? Well, the way Chase doles out their points is you have one base point and then you have bonus points. So you're only going to get that one base point once on each purchase. So it's sort of shared between both sides of that equation. So if we look at the restaurants, for example, you've got one base point and then you're getting 2 extra points normally from the card, and in the case of the 5%, that means you're getting 4 bonus points, which means you've got the 1 base point plus 2 plus 4 equals 7. And then the same thing through Chase Travel. If you book your hotels there, you've got the 1 base point, and then you've got the extra 4 that you would normally get from the card, and then you would get an extra 4 when you are using it in the second quarter. Now, it's also important to remember that you get that 5 points per dollar or 5% with the Chase Freedom Flex on up to $1,500 worth of purchases in those categories combined for the second quarter, which runs from April 1st through June 30th. And so what that means is when we talk about the potential for 7% or 9%, that is going to be on up to the first $1,500 worth of purchases in all those categories combined. You go beyond $1,500, then your restaurant purchases are going to fall back to 3% after that point. Your hotel purchases are going to fall back to either 1% if you book directly with the hotel or 5% if you book through Chase Travel. And then of course the Amazon and Whole Foods is going to go from the 5% back to 1% if you hit that $1,500 cap and you continue to buy more in those categories. And then everything else is going to be 1% on the card, just as it always is, except for drugstores where you also get 3%. And then remember, you have to activate in order to get that 5% in those categories for Q2, meaning you have to tell Chase that yes, you are aware of the 5% categories and that you do want them. Seems crazy, like I always say, but it is something you have to do. So it's easy enough to go online, and you can even do it after the quarter has started in order to make sure you get those 5% categories, but you do have to do it. Many people that hold the Chase Freedom Flex also hold the Discover It card and its 5% rotating categories. For Q2, the categories on the Discover It are gas stations or electric vehicle charging, transit purchases, and home improvement purchases. So you have no overlap between the categories in Q2. So what do we think of these Q2 categories? We love them. 7% at restaurants, are you kidding me? I'll probably blow the whole $1,500 on restaurants to get that 7% back in Q2, but interesting categories. Otherwise, the hotels, even if you book directly, you're gonna get the 5%, but if you book through Chase Travel, you're looking at the 9%. And then for some people, if you're not an Amazon Prime member, the 5% at Amazon and Whole Foods could be interesting as well. If you already are a Prime member and you have the Amazon credit card, well then you're already getting that 5%, so that is not anything that's going to be interesting to you. But a lot of good stuff happening here and no overlap with the Discover It card, so if you have both of those cards, you're in good shape. So 7% at restaurants for me, 5% on gas from the Discover It card. I got the City Custom Cash card. I got to figure out where I'm going to get 5% on that card. So all sorts of good things things happening in the second quarter. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews. We talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you're not going to leave a comment or go to the website, there's a video you're going to want to watch, and it's right there.